Okay, it's still, what is today? Thursday. It's still Thursday. But my son-in-law is supposed to be coming. He's going to be leaving in a little while. So I think he'll be here in the morning. And then it's going to probably be kind of hectic. I was like, man, I'm just going to go ahead and record so I have a video that I can put in the morning. Because I'm not going to know all the stuff that has gone on tonight, but there was still enough stuff that I was like, well, this is the stuff I'd want to comment on anyways. And right now, whatever's going on with my algorithm is like, they're just jacking with it. It's like weird fucking videos of, yeah, there's just like a whole thing when they put you into the ones that is just all nonsense and commercials and girls talking about makeup and stuff like that. It's like, oh my God, it's irritating. But just regular, a lot of regular sad stuff that I saw, though. A lot of still, like a lot of traumas and whatnot is going on. My daughter messaged me a little while ago, the one that works in social work, and the one I had been telling for a few years. I said, it's going to come to a time. I said, just watch, it's going to come and it's going to get bad. I said, there's going to be so much violence and so much domestic violence. I said, watch out because you're going to have a lot of clients who are going to have a lot of domestic violence where it's going to be like take themselves out and take out the family and stuff like that. And they're having that stuff now, like a lot of bad stuff. And so she's like, I already know what you're going to say. Because every time I'm always like, it's going to get worse. It's just going to keep getting worse. Because we still don't have the big amount of people who are gone. And I even tried to tell her, but see, it's like I'm talking a language that people who are not spiritually developed yet, I'm talking a language that they don't understand. And so, but I was like, if you guys got like if these people got like a QHHT, and if they really started understanding that they're dealing with stuff from past lives, if they could see, a lot of times it can play in like a movie in your head, like a snippet, like a trailer of a past life. And in that trailer, you get all the meaning. All of a sudden, you totally understand what the deal is with this person and what it is you're trying to work out, which gives you more insight, which gives you more to work with. People are just fire and blind here. They don't know what the hell they're doing. And so they're arguing about things that they think is just like right now. But yeah, you can be having an argument right now, but the tension between you is for fucking eons. It's from life after life. It is from these constant battles of will. You can go and look up about reincarnation and stuff and read about it, you see for yourself and understand. In the QHHT things, there's all that is currently going on where people are sharing those all the time. And you can go in and hear about those, but people doing them, have even said like it takes so many lives to work out certain things, like where people think like, oh well, I think I've had 1 or 2 million probably. It isn't where people get that flesh and blood idea. No, you're a thought. How many dreams have you had? So it's the same thing. It's just on a higher level. And so I mean, think of some of the stuff I wanted to talk about though was Joe supposedly is impeached, but I don't know, how many steps they got to go through, how much of it is just a big show to, get people's attention, which I swear to God, it's not getting much. But I think a lot of people are just really wrapped up in their own problems and stuff. It's crazy how much the Madonna thing has got people, but I think it's part of disclosure. Like, she was a rotten son of a bitch, and they've got all that stuff coming out right now. Like, she's got like what is that place, Malawa, Malawi, something like that, that in charges in Africa for her foundation. It's always those foundations. See, and that's what's got me on that fucking guy, which now has got so much more uproar with people trying to either defend Ballard and say all the other stuff is nonsense, or say that, you know, you guys are falling for it. Man, with the videos that got me, the biggest ones that got me on Ballard was the kiss. The kiss is just gross. Just some of the pictures of how he holds kids and stuff, like, gross. And, ew. And then, oh, so much of the video going around now with the tidy-whitey dance guy out there. Shit, I mean, people now are talking about who he is and stuff. I swear to God, he looks like somebody who just went in the bathroom, took off all his clothes, and went out there in his underwear and started dancing in front of the kids and stuff. It's so gross. It probably is something like that. It probably, so many people are probably researching him. We'll find out he's got charges. He's going down for something. Like, he's, you know, a distributor, a purchaser, or something, you know. Because all of this stuff has to keep coming out in such a big way. And there's still so many progressive parents who just keep defending the order, you know, because they don't want to see, because it's going to be a big thing for them to face. And so they're going to hold on to it as best they can, but there's going to be no stopping it. Dylan now just came out and has said he can't even go out. He can't even leave the house. He is totally scared that the corporations abandoned him, that he's still just all in on the trans, and we got to have support for the trans. Please come and support us. We need, so he's very programmed, you know, and it's hard to say, you know, how some of this stuff is going to play out. I told my daughter, you know, that these people should be getting more of a spiritual teachings, you know. I was like, y'all could get some spiritual people to come in there, even some people who could do some hypnosis to get these people to understand that there is a purpose, that there's things they're doing here. And, you know, that would change a lot of stuff. But she's like, I don't think they're ready for that. And that's the thing, is like, people aren't ready for it. I said, yeah, I know that's the problem, is people aren't ready for it. But it's going to be the no leveling up, because they're not ready for it. They're not ready to level up. They'll just they'll leave the game, because they are not, you can't go up. The game is going to keep leveling up. If you're not leveling up with the game, then you're going to leave the game. You can't keep going. Today, what was I doing? Oh, yeah, because I swear to God, this day, I went on one walk this morning, and it was definitely weird stuff in the sky. And then came back. Oh, yeah, I had to deal with, I don't know. Every day is so weird, man. Every day is like nothing is connected. Trying to connect it is like, but anyways, we went on 2 walks this morning, and then we went to the lake and went and walked all around at the lake. Now she hears her friends out there barking, so I'm just going to jump up and get out there. But, we went to the lake. There's something else I was going to say about that. I have no idea. But Dylan, I knew that was going to be, because there's going to be a lot of people who are in the public eye, especially ones who are on one side of something. Like all those people, Vanderpump Rules, a lot of people are going to find themselves in a very humbling situation, a humiliation, a exposing kind of feeling, a feeling like they're standing naked in front of everybody, and everybody sees, but they didn't see. And so that is, you know, it's going to hurt a lot, you know, for a lot of people. The stuff I'm talking about is deep stuff. It's not, when something strikes deep, that's why I say, like, judgment. When people say, oh, judgment day or whatever. But when you go through judgment day of yourself, the deepness, it's a whole nother level. You can't get away from it. You can't go to sleep. You can't get away from it. It just goes and goes and goes and goes. And, just like when they want me to say something, they'll just put it on repeat. They'll just keep saying it and saying it and saying it until I'm like, okay, God, I'll go do it. And, but that is that same intelligence, that same aspect, your higher self, whoever you're working with, in that higher state of consciousness, it is going to push you to do the thing you're supposed to do your healing thing, to do. And I hear people just talking about this stuff so differently than I am hearing, people who are all of a sudden like getting it and saying what I'm saying. But a lot of people, saying other things. I mean, so many people with the energy and the downloads, and it's raising your DNA and making it to where you don't have anything to worry about, or getting you to where you're perfect or something like that. It's like, man, I don't know. If life is everything about like what we believe, maybe that's what those souls believe, and then I believe like it's more work or something. And so I believe like it has to be work. Maybe that is some limitation in my own concept of life or living or something, is it has to be work. I have just seen, it wasn't like I started doing this and I was like, I think I'm going to go and start trying to be enlightened. I think I want to just, go on that path. Like I said, I was already spiritual. I was already a practicing spiritual person. I was always trying to look at things through a spiritual perspective, trying to see the bigger picture, trying to understand something deeper, the bigger purpose behind things, and leaving a lot of things to the universe, to the natural order, not getting caught up in a lot of dramas and stuff. So that is like, to me, practicing spirituality. And your development, is who you are through that. Whatever you do is your practices to becoming, who you are or whatever. So I already had that, but, I wasn't like, I wasn't into meditation, or wasn't, I mean, when I very first started getting into spirituality, especially when I was breaking free from religion, I read a lot of books, tons and tons of books. And then when I got interested in something, but I didn't just continually go to the place and look what's the latest stuff on spirituality and mysticism and all that stuff. And so like when Dolores Cannon came into my view, she had already been going. I think she was already dead by the time I heard of her. And so but there's a lot of people who think just because they know about Dolores Cannon that they are experts on so much stuff. And to me, it's like Dolores Cannon's kind of newer. She had like brought a lot to the table, but it's like, I don't know, just like kind of taking the shortcut, because you're just going through one person, and it's like you got to look through a lot of things for that like broader perspective that I talk about. Otherwise you've limited perspective, and you're reliant on somebody else's view or understanding of the world. And so it's better to not just be like, Dolores said, Dolores said, Dolores said, have a larger reference, a larger, library of information for yourself. So, I mean, it could all be the same information, it all could just reinforce what you already know. But, at least you get that confirmation of that, broader knowing of knowing more stuff, and it's still always leading back to what you understand. And so it never can hurt. But there's just so many people, I just think it's that ego thing. I think that's part of that, needing to purge it out of our society. And so it's just really, at the surface, a lot of stuff. But I was trying to think of what all I had seen because I saw where supposedly Jim or Joe is getting impeached, and something. I'm trying to think, what did I see? I know I saw something where people are now showing this guy I've seen back in 2020. Can't remember his name. Is some British guy or something. He looks kind of Middle Eastern, but anyways, he does look exactly like Kamala, and his name is something like no, his name is like Kamal Armala or something like that. So it's just like a mashup of the name, create this other name, put on, and she doesn't even wear dresses. She always wears like business suit kind of lady suits. And so, yeah. When you see the person, I mean, the face is so identical. It's freaky looking. It's just like the person's face with a wig on. And so that one, but it seems like there's something else. There's something else coming out about Kamala. Oh, yeah, the Madonna stuff. Yeah, there's so much because Madonna was really rotten. And so she's got charges. And that could be that she's not going to make it out of this hospital thing. She was never going to make it. I mean, we don't even know if that's really her. This weird person that they put in, like that could just be, like they really wanted to put a really weirdo to take her place to really just show how strange she was. But she's got charges over traffic stuff and all sorts of stuff. So she's going down, and I mean, it's already the punishment is like, there's no hope. You're done for. So there is no getting out of this one. And so it makes sense for her not to get out of the hospital. So we'll see. But boy, she's brought everybody out. Like Kathy Griffin now has come out to expose herself. And I was thinking this has got to be on purpose. Like some of these people coming out and saying stuff, it's got to be like, well, this is your chance. This is your opportunity. You don't want this to happen or that or this to be exposed, and you better say this or do that. You get one chance or something like that. Who knows? But I would imagine it's something like that because that's the games that they played on people. So the games are being played back on them. And so, because Kathy Griffin, which, probably any of you guys who watch me already know that about, if you know about the Illuminati and all of the crazy stuff and the Anderson Cooper and the Vanderbilts. That was Vanderbilt, right? Because these jeans that were popular in the 80s. There was Calvin Klein's. Because the fashion industry has been a big beard, a big beard for their industry, these prepubescent, beautiful girls, and then them being able to intermingle trans people in there, I guess, because of the height thing or something. So they've been able to just do a lot of weird stuff with that whole thing. It was messing with our minds or something, or set beauty standards, but it's also been a front to a lot of their stuff and get girls to openly want to go there for these jobs, and then they know which girls can disappear, which girls can go to certain places, because they need them for all different things. They need them for slaves, they need them for pumping out babies, they need them for all different things. So it's like a way to draw them in, but it's all like a bearded institute. It's like the same thing with the universities, and it's like becomes like a fishing pond. So it's the same with them with the beauty industry. And so Vanderbilt or something, I think her jeans were, and then she was like, had all this like high fashion clothes, and she was really popular there for a while. Seems like a lot of people were wearing, like, it went from like Levi's to Calvin Klein's and Vanderbilt jeans or something for like, I don't know, it wasn't like preppy people. It became like yuppie people or something. It started becoming like fashion conscious, go-getter, up and comers or something. And so, uh, yeah, the styles and stuff, the cocaine, the sports cars, the, guys doing lines, and it is so as a whole kind of era that occurred. And so the Vanderbilts are very involved. And there's always, I don't know, there's a lot of weird stuff about, like, I don't know, they have to sell their kids or what the fuck. But so there was two brothers. There was Anderson and there was another one. And then supposedly they're the one got sick and died. But then all of a sudden this little girl came who the mom favored, named Kathy Griffin. Hold on. She's all limping around. She walks and walks. She does it to herself, I swear. As soon as she feels good, she'll go out and run or walk and walk and walk and walk and walk. And then she goes around. So anyways, Kathy, all of a sudden came. But there's a whole weird thing. Like when you hear about all of the weird stuff, I don't know, something that messed with Anderson or something. And you can imagine, supposedly your brother dies, but really gets turned into a girl, and then is favored by the mom, and you're just, and so Kathy was this favored person by Gloria for all of, Gloria's life or something till Gloria died. And so, and then you can look up and see all the pictures of Anderson and Kathy. And then you can look at the pictures of them when they were little boys. You can see the same faces. But anyway, so Kathy made a statement on Madonna and how she's just devastated. And you know that she's gone to many of the concerts being a gay man and all. So, yeah, that to me was like, okay, that's not like a slip up. I mean, next we're going to have Michelle coming out and saying, there's more footage. There's more footage. Like that guy was just going around like with his honking ass fucking tree trunk thing, waving around in dresses and shit. It was like he's just flying in our faces, laughing the whole time of how stupid we are. And that is the funny thing too, when Trump does that. And I shot Abenaki or whatever that whole thing is. When somebody does that mashup with Obama being all professional about how they took out Osama bin Laden and, so all the bullshit, and then do the mashup with Trump talking about when they took out the Mac Daddy or whatever his whole thing is. And it's so funny because he's always just, sticking a thumb up his fucking nose at their bullshit. They're little, like, they're all up their own asses. But it's all to try and just, like, trick us so that we're all just, like, because they say the right things and they smile and they wear the right clothes, that we just think, well, they're just so super cool. I just totally trust them. Oh, well, they would never lie. And, there's a lot of people who think that. This is one thing that's really between my mom and my her sister right now, because her sister, who's very in the 3D, she keeps believing certain people. Oh no, they've got such a nice smile, there's no way that they could not be honest. And my mom's just like, oh my gosh, she doesn't even know, like, and you can't tell her. She just thinks that you're just believing the cult TV or something, of the 45 radio. I don't even understand. I mean, there's so many people who still have the TDS. I don't even have any patience for it. They come in and start, people who come in and they want to defend themselves. Like, it isn't defend themselves for apparently, taking their kids to parade, sex show things. It isn't that. It is they want to turn it around. And because I'm not up for that, or I want to call that out as not being good for kids, that means I am, bigot, homophobic, and all that stuff. So they always want to turn it, twist it back on you, and try and they're trying to get trickier about it now, because they're just are so obvious and everybody says stuff. So now they try and get like, and it's just the same thing. It's like, I don't give a shit. And these people too who just they're just so stuck on Trump, 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 Trump. It's like, oh my God, you can't say anything. You try and say anything. And what was it I was saying? Because so there's something, there's a bunch going on at the airport, like over on the East Coast. So over by New York, they're not letting flights go, and they keep delaying them, and then they keep canceling them, like 1,400 a day or something. And then they said that as of July 1st, we can't leave the country. There's something about we can't go anywhere. I don't know. I mean, they've just got open borders, so I don't know about people coming in. But there's something about we're not going to be allowed to go anywhere. There's something about July 4th is supposed to be the biggest one. Like, I don't know if it's supposed to be. I don't know. And this guy, he was all dressed all military, but he was not talking on that kind of thing. But I don't know what his job was or something. But he was saying some good stuff. But he said that he didn't think it would be an EMP. Definitely, it's not gonna be nukes, but it won't be. He didn't think it would even be an EMP. He thought it was gonna be a cyber attack. So it'd be a cyber attack, and he said that they're already doing it in some places, and so they'll just take the grid down. So they'll just knock the grid down so nothing will work. And that could be, if the deep state people were trying to just keep pushing this out and pushing this out, because it did seem like that the one side was finally fed up, like, okay, no, we're doing this now. Something's getting done. We're just going to start releasing shit, and y'all are going to just have to, and so, but they've got reporters, man, out there now who are releasing stuff. And like that one the other day when they were talking to the press secretary. So anyways, if that is, it's almost the first. It's going to be this weekend. Every time, I swear to God, how many weekends has that been? There's all these dates, all this information, all this intel where, oh, this could be it. But every time there is stuff that happens, it's not like nothing is, that there's nothing happening. There's constant stuff happening. There's a lot of change that is occurring. Like you can go on the government websites and see the quantum thing is up. What was it? I had just seen something else about medical. There's more people who are starting to get it too about we can't die because we're not real. So the whole thing about for them to tell us we're real is so that they can get us to die. Because once you know you're eternal, the whole thing is so much about how they create the illusion in the mind. It all comes from in here. The whole thing was sickness and all of it. And it is all to just disrupt. It's like to disrupt the soul from doing its own work while it's here. And so, because that is what is going on. Like, people don't even understand that they have a purpose, that there's a reason things happen. There was, what was that? That was a really good one. It was something that happened, and then it was like, oh man, what was it? See, this stuff goes on all day long. And there's so many cool-ass things that'll happen, and they'll tell me or explain it to me. And then it'll be like, oh, and then, man, it's hard to remember what it was. It was such a good example, too, of something when you are like going along with the signs, like when you're reading the signs and approaching life, and you are understanding that when something happens that you work on it right then. You see it right then. See, instead of being reactive, see, the reactive is the lower chakra. And so it's being deeper, but there's a whole way. And I think it was when we were at the lake, because I left and we went to the lake. Oh no, did I already say that? Man, I'm having like weird glitches too. Really weird things. And everything is so disconnected, man. And I'm having weird, like this girl, she was totally freaked out. She was doing this video because she was so freaked out. But so she was going to go put on this dress that she had gotten and she hadn't worn it yet. And so she went in to get it in her closet. And when she went in to get it, there was 2 of them. And she got it at the thrift store. She didn't get 2 of them. There's only 1 of them. And so she was just freaked out. She got them out. She was comparing them, all this stuff. And that is how it feels like right now. Like it just keeps feeling like these weird, like it's weird. I am having such a weird experience, and it just continued to get weirder. Like this has been going for so long, of different weird things after weird things. Like I remember even when I had this other, to me, you kind of come together and go apart sometimes with people, like the orbit, like a rotation. And because this person, I've talked to them and then, not talked to them and then talked to them again. And, but I haven't talked to him in a long while again. But when I was talking to him before, and we were talking about spiritual stuff and healing. But see, everybody's not at the same, on the same pace, on the same thing. So it's not like you can just have somebody there the whole time holding your hand or whatever, because everybody's going at their own pace and seeing what they need to see along their own route. But there was something that I had talked about then. Man, every time when I get the background thing, I lose the thing I want to talk about. But maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe it will come back to me. But it just, to me, is the man, I feel really lost for a second. Because now I keep having this person stuck in my head of the person, and that doesn't matter. There's other stuff I was trying to think about or whatever. Man, and I feel so tired too. So I feel kind of like my brain feels swampy right now. And plus I've been going and going all day. And I have been going and going on no sleep for days. And then, so I don't know if it is, it could be all these different things together. The energy, but so there's something I think with the astrology and the Gemini, and something with, there's something about July 1st. And I think it is something with the government saying in it, then something that, because there's this whole thing about, that was supposed to be the beginning of the Fed now. That was supposed to be the whole thing with the money thing. And, yeah, I do think like they were dragging it out, and then the other side started pushing in harder, but they had already surrounded them. And now it just keeps exposing them. And so, and weird stuff like that, like Kathy Griffin just out of blue to go in and say, well, I'm a gay man. Okay, so you've been living as a woman, not as even a trans woman, They've been living as a woman since, I mean, I saw about her a long time ago. She was a stand-up comedian. And then, and I used to like her a long time ago. And then she just started being so hateful. A lot of people, I think, when Trump came, like, there was people who knew that he was there to take them down. I think that they had been in enough rooms with him to know he didn't play the same games they were playing. And so they wanted to keep him in his place. But the other side knew he was the perfect one, and he was willing to, to take a lot of abuse. Like, that is a strong-ass person. That's a confident person. He really, can take all the abuse of all of America. And there was a whole time when he went to a game or something, everybody was booing him and stuff. I was like, fuck, man. This guy's trying to fucking take down the most evil people. And people are booing him. And it's not just like him trying to take him down. But, I mean, he's playing his part. And that is what got me with the Tim Ballard. Because when you watch Trump and you see, like, how he's making fun of them. Like, the things he does and says, he's making fun of them. That's why it's so funny when you start seeing, when you get in on the joke, he's hilarious. Man, the way he talks and stuff, it's so funny. He just, like, makes fun of them. And, like, that they take themselves so serious. So he makes it like a joke. So it's really funny. But the way he was with that Ballard, especially because that has been his platform this whole time to end that, end the traffic situation. And it's a big thing with Ivana. Yeah, Ivana was the wife, right? Ivanka is the daughter, yeah. That she, that is her big thing of rehabilitating. She got billions of money put into the rehabbing the people who they were getting. Like, all this has been going on for a while. We're just like waiting to catch up because all these people are not paying attention. But, they're spiritual. It's all a spiritual thing. So there's spiritual growth that you can be doing through the whole process. So there's not like, oh, well, I'm just sitting here waiting. There's always stuff like happening to help you to see things, because everything is just to keep having you look at it in a broader perspective, to just keep, it's like funneling or siphoning through information and getting a broader perspective. So it is currently, helping the progress. But, so he, so Trump, he was, oh yeah, so when, Ballard was sitting at the table, yeah, you would expect, like, this would be somebody who you would, I mean, if this guy's like the top rescuer, you'd think you'd have like a good relationship with them. You'd think you'd be a little bit more cheery, a little bit more chuckly, a little bit more friendly, not just keep like holding your fist by your mouth and, yeah. Like, he just wants to just fucking cold cock the dude. And then they've got this guy over there just shuffling through stories. He can't even keep one story straight. He's got to switch to another one. And it's like, okay, that is weird. And but Trump's attitude, and then with the stuff with them kissing. And I think that the video, the pictures of the mugshot, and the only thing that looks different to me is he's grown his hair out. Like, everything else looks the same to me. I think he looks the same. Like, he does have like the same lines on his face and stuff. His nose seems to be the same shape. His mouth. And then they can make some of those changes anyways. Like, they can do a nose job. They can change a jawline. They can change your cheekbones. Like, they change whole fucking facial structures all the time. So I bet the whole thing about Ballard from the LDS church, and he's from the fucking CIA, and then there's a weird thing, and then he's got his foundation, and the foundation is so you don't have this restrictions, you don't have the government overseers, so you're just free out there. You can run into every single natural disaster, every single situation, and run in and be the first ones in there. Yeah, that's, oh man. I think that this is to expose it. It just seems like it to me. We'll just have to see. I mean, this whole thing is for us to kind of learn in the game. Like think about the things we're learning. We're learning about discernment. So, like figure your own markers. Like, how do you feel about it? What are the things that you see? What do you think? If you're doing a experiment, and or how many markers does it meet over where you say, like, it's this or it's that. It's like you decide for yourself how you feel about it. It's going to be crazy though. They get all these people seeing this movie and talking about it, and then the guy who was in it is arrested and exposed as the part he played in it. That is going to really flip some people's minds, man. Like, there's going to be so much, like, this is going to be mental yeah, it is going to be mental aerobics, mental gymnastics. Like, people are, like, that you do have to have some working out done. Like, you got to have your mind be in fighting shape for, I think, some of this stuff that is going to be coming out. And if you aren't healed and stuff, and some of that stuff, is going to hit a lot harder. Like, a lot of stuff, you got to just let it bounce off of you and just be like, well, fuck, man. I didn't know. But a lot of people are going to take it. I mean, I can't believe how personal people are taking it on TikTok about fucking, I mean, they're fucking, like it's the last stand. And so, fuck, man. And so then you have two sides. So one of them's going to be right. So we'll see, how this is going to keep playing out. But it won't, I mean, it's going to definitely play out where these people who think Trump is bad, that they're going to see, like he's been fucking playing a saintly role, and you guys have been throwing stones at him the whole damn time. That is going to hurt, when they realize what they've done. Because, there's one thing when you don't know what you're doing, but when you realize what you've done, the judgment to yourself comes pouring out. It's not going to matter what other people, you watch. You can sit there and tell somebody, don't feel bad, don't feel bad. It will, there's something in the soul. And this is the thing that is just, like flambéed my mind, is how cut off people are from their souls, and how much connecting to it is going to really impact them because of the decisions and choices that they made being cut off from said source and not having that guidance. And it takes, I mean, like, I don't know, because I've always been able to forgive people. It's just always been a thing to me that I've always known. It's important to forgive. You don't want to carry that with you. And I knew that from a young age. So I don't know if it's from the stuff that they would tell me, or if it was from, I mean, because it would always make sure, like they direct you towards your interests and stuff. That's the thing. See, all of those things are right there. It is, but people interfere. Like, they don't see what's right in front of them because they're looking at something else, and they're trying to control or force, and that is like trying to control destiny, and you can't. This is already going, but if you're not paying attention to this, then you don't know the positive things that are happening to lead you in this other direction, because you're trying to go in this other one. And so that is just such a huge thing, where people like it's such a common thing, like the different things that people seem to struggle with spiritually seem to be like the same kinds of things. Like they can't spread their mind wide enough open to understand so many different concepts. But see, the universe is going to keep going. And where people think like, it just downloads you, like you just go to sleep at night and you're just downloaded, and then you just, maybe you don't have any karma, maybe you don't have any baggage, maybe you don't have any pain, maybe you've never suffered. Like, I don't know. From what I am shown and see, though, it is, this is your opportunity. That it's the pain and the suffering. It is the 3D. You can't take, the pain and suffering into heaven. And one thing, because somebody just said this to me too, because it made them feel better. And this is what, so many people are so cut off. But it was something I said about death not being real or something. And they said that makes them feel better. But they said, what about all the people who die or leave or whatever? Where do they go? And I said, they don't go anywhere. They're right next to you. They're everywhere around you. You just can't see them because you're vibrating in the 3-dimensional. Because you have to focus on that because you're trying to learn through the experience. So you're focused on that. Yeah, I didn't say all this stuff. But so you're focused on that. And so you don't see that. That takes pulling free from that. And pulling free from that is a whole obstacle in itself, because so many people are dependent on this view of themselves, and to pull free from that starts making them feel like they're going crazy. They don't understand themselves. They it's a scary place. A lot of people are scared of their own minds. They're scared, like what do you think about? Like, you're scared of your own mind, like but I am seeing more people understand now that they're not creating thoughts, that they're being fed information, and that there's an energy that will continue harassing you with that information. People are seeing now what I've been talking about this whole damn time. And so I know I'm right about that. Like, they've shown me this so many times. Like, I've bought for years and years and years. And so it's like, but I never believed in demons and all that stuff, but I knew that there was a dark energy. But yeah, the way they've shown it to me, it's just like dark energy. It's just like dark matter. It's just like an emotion. It's just like a parasite. It's just something that attaches to you, but then it's hard to get it off. Just like how we have all these parasites and they're so hard to get rid of, especially like right now. I know that they're just flooding us with parasites. And, but I hope to God, I fucking hope to God we're at the end. Oh my God. I swear to fucking God, if it goes goddamn past this weekend and they don't fucking do shit, like if they don't fucking start this goddamn Fed Now shit or something, and it just is more of this just talking bullshit, oh, well, Putin said this, oh, Kim Jong-un said this, oh, well, the WEF said this, oh, WHO said this, oh, well, we're about to go down and we're going to be bombed and all this stuff. Like, fucking do it. While all this is going on, they're fucking fumigating the East Coast. There's no goddamn way that this cloud is smoke. And I feel like the people over there have not dealt with enough forest fires or something. And it's weird because I would think there's mountains and forests over there. And some of the places in the South get so hot. So why aren't they having tons of forest fires? Like, why do we have all these forest fires over here? California, Oregon, Canada, Washington State. Why is this all the fucking, That really is kind of strange. But some of these people who don't seem to like questioning forest fire, and very confused why it smells like plastic, and why it's burning their eyes and making their throats hurt, and why they're getting sick. It's because it's fucking not. It's the cloud that is over there of whatever these shit, how many ever things they've even blown up that even they have up there. When I went out earlier, it was distinctly like different skies. And, I think that they are putting an artificial one to try and mask what's going on above us. For some reason, it just makes no sense. It's like you can't hide it. It's happening. Like, why are you hiding it? Is it to try and make it where, is it like the good people are trying to hide it so that the people don't focus on more fear because they're so cut off from understanding? I mean, people are goddamn scared of aliens. They're scared of spaceships. They're out there just obsessively looking at clouds and looking for aliens, and everybody sees an alien everywhere, and a spaceship everywhere, and they're all freaked out. So maybe that's why. It's like they can't get people to understand things that are above like their understanding. That's what I've been saying this whole time, that you can only understand up to your point of understanding. You can't understand beyond that. And that is why it's important for you to build your resources, to build your reference, for you to open your mind, to allow information in, to learn to trust your gut, learn to trust your inner voice that gives you what is important to you and what doesn't matter, and helps you determine you and who you are and your place in the universe, and your purpose in life, the whole thing. And so that is but it's just so weird to just know some of the stuff so deep in my core, and for people to just not understand it at all. And for people always, like, I start talking like to my daughter even, and she goes, yeah, but a lot of people are against religion. I'm like, yeah, religion's toxic. I'm not talking about religion. And I'm not talking about any deity. I'm talking about connecting to oneself, connecting inside oneself. You have a higher state of mind, a higher state of presence inside of you. And if you don't connect to it, you don't understand your purpose in this world. And so it's important for people to connect to it. But it has been, the goal of these people is to keep people disconnected from it, so that people stay limited. Because, I mean, if you have a bunch of eternal beings running around being eternal, then how are you going to control them? They're not scared to die. They don't give a shit what you say. They know that they've got human rights. They're not worried about man's laws. And so it is, they had to create limitations. They had to make people think they were flesh and blood. They had to make people think that they could die if bad things happen. And always, always telling our stories as if those stories can happen to us. That's what I always have been saying for how long. Like, the stories, the movies, the stories that they tell, there are stories, and we get traumatized by all these stories and stuff like that. But it's the soul stories. You can learn from the soul stories. But, and another thing that they've done that is so toxic is the stereotyping. And creating biases so that people have this downgraded reference of who and what someone is. And so it gives it creates a lack of respect for other individuals that people don't know personally. They just automatically reduce them to a simple point of reference, a simple way of looking at them. Look at them with depth. And then that also keeps them cut off out of empathy and compassion and stuff. And you can see, like, nice people and stuff that don't have empathy and compassion for certain things. They have an empathy, the stated empathy for the controlled narrative of the agenda that is pushed by the people. They jump onto those ones because that is a part of being a good person. If they don't do it, then they have the shame of the group. And the group is very, in that group especially, it is a very, that group is very controlled by bullies. And you know, when Dylan is out there, I really felt bad for him. You know, he's being bullied so bad, and you know, is so dependent on his community. He is not like the community has become like where they think it's us against the world, but it is that projection. They create this illusion because it is not them against the world. They're creating that. They're creating walls. They're creating division, and they are isolating themselves and claiming themselves to be the victim. And so, therefore, that they keep themselves trapped in a state of illusion of isolation. And they do it kind of as a group. But see, that's why I've been saying that the people have to break free from the groups. You have to break free so that you can start becoming an independent thinker, an independent seer. You know, just like I keep saying, you don't want to just keep seeing through other people's vision. You got to become strong enough to trust your own vision. And when you connect inside yourself and you develop your discernment, you develop your communication, you develop your awareness, your insights of your own signs, of your own fortitude towards your own existence and your own reality that you are the creator of, then that gives you like the movement of the motivation into that direction. So, but it's so much about, man, and I've been saying this for so long because it's so much about letting go of the 3D. It is like a dependency, like the soul is kind of dependent on that view of itself. It really is a very limiting. And if you are, you know, if you are more like spiritually minded and you look at things through a deeper perspective, then you can see, you know, how, you know, it's like the unable to look at things more deeply because that it's like a dependency though. It is like, because it is almost like mom said, dad said, you know, well, the government said, well, these are the rules. Well, this is the way it is. Well, why don't you just do what you're told? Why don't you just do what you're supposed to do? It is that kind of attitude, that kind of energy, you know, and when you see that as a child, you know, like, well, because mom or dad says, it is like, yeah, but why? I mean, they're not here. I mean, what are they going to do? Don't tell them that you did it. And so, but there's kids who would have been like, no, I don't want to get in trouble. See, I think I was one of those kids who was like, I don't know, it depends. Like, because I wasn't criminal. I mean, I've done some naughty things. But, I mean, there's some kids, everything is a spectrum, you know, because no matter what, I still had an inner voice that I was always listening to. And the inner voice was always trying to keep me out of trouble. I mean, they always made that really clear to me. They were always trying to, like, be there for me and help me and, you know, make it to where I wasn't just sad. And I mean, there's definitely times where I've felt forsaken, felt abandoned, you know. I was like, why am I going through this? You know, it wasn't like they could come in and tell me. It's not like they can come in and tell you. and then say, yeah, but just wait a few years. No, you have to go. You have to see it for yourself. This whole thing is like trust blindly. It is like going through the path. It's recognizing your path, connecting to yourself, recognizing your path, and then going blindly, trusting the what you're doing is what you're supposed to be doing. And but see, there's been so much confusion because there's been so much where people start going and doing something. Well, it could be that that was just the thing. That was their lessons. It wasn't. It was always supposed to fail. It was always supposed to go down that way. It wasn't supposed to be a success, but they were still supposed to chase that dream so that they could experience the other thing. So it's not necessarily that somebody's doing something wrong because they're chasing something that they're not going to get. But the thing that you would be doing wrong is if you're chasing something that because it's what somebody else is doing, because you think it worked for someone else and you want what someone else has. Because when the desires come from within, it's got to be like your desires. That's why it's kind of like you're narrowing down exactly what it is you want from life right now. You're really trying to figure out, what it is. What kind of person do I want to be? What kind of person do I want to be around? What kind of lifestyle do I want to have? And a lot of people have gotten themselves into sticky situations. People are in super toxic relationships, super toxic marriages. I mean, we've got so many fucked up family situations right now. And, all those things are going to have to be cleaned up. There will be consequences. I'm not saying you can just walk away and that there will be no consequences. It will just all go away because you pretended like it doesn't exist. It won't go like that. It is that you would have consequences, but that is your development. That is your maturing. That is you dealing with those consequences is your maturing. That is your development. So that is why you don't turn away from it. You turn towards it. You go into it. And as you go into it, then it develops into itself because you're putting that energy towards wanting goodness, wanting things cleaned up, wanting the positive. You go in that direction. And so even if it is that you think it's, you're just trying to clean up your messes of things you had done before, but you taking responsibility and manning up to your own consequences is the energy that you require to move you towards your dreams. In that movement of you stepping into your own and claiming yourself and putting yourself out there and being in that energy of movement towards a positive thing, turning what you've done and by claiming it, and it's like a huge thing, like claiming your story. I think that's because I kept seeing so many people saying that their guides were telling them, tell their story, tell their story, tell their story. So many people start coming out and telling their stories. So many people have crazy ass stories. So many crazy stories. And so, I think it is a part of the transformation is the recognition that your story is your story. It is like you got to claim it. It's like your flag. It is your story is, it's your claim to fame. It is what you've overcome. It's your brilliance. Oh, and that's the other thing too, and I don't know if I've already talked about this on here, because that whole diamond thing, there's more fucking shit with the diamond stuff, because now at Trump Tower today in New York, the Tiffany Co. Burned up tons of stuff, a big old artwork thing and all burned up. I think they had to evacuate the whole Trump Tower and stuff. But and as soon as I heard where they said DeSantis is now going to start putting money into diamonds or diamond stock or something. I don't know. You can look up about it. But as soon as I started hearing about that, I was like, oh, man, there's going to be something corrupt with the diamonds. Then there was, then when it started being this whole thing about that they make diamonds out of dead people. Like, that's what's to come. And get us all, like, it's kind of like their keepsakes too. You know, take these people and then make them into these stones. And then as the snicker, the slap in our faces, laugh at us, is selling to us as though they have this great value. And we pay top dollar so we can, sport around these shiny stones that are really, somebody's ashes, somebody's, and then, the energy, like, what is, I don't know, there's just creepy, but it's going to be, all of this stuff is to get diamonds on the tongue, diamonds on the conversation, diamonds in your thoughts, diamonds on the tip of your tongue. So then diamonds are in your reference. And so, and I don't know, to me, I already got the whole thing with diamonds was super criminal. If you ever saw Blood Diamond and you saw what they did about the mining and the brutality and what they do, the slaving of kids, and it's just horrible. And so, and they're going to get them out of caves or something. And so now, so they're going to have this all coming out like diamonds, 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 and then it's going to come out. That's what I think it's going to come out. It's dead people. I mean, that we've all been valuing this. Everything that has been like a materialistic kind of artificial, just like how, it's all coming out about the food and how it's all artificial. And they're even going all in, like they're pulling stuff off the shelf and sticking GMOs and everything, all this. Pretty soon it's going to be computer generated food. But all of that artificial, and for people now realizing, like, no wonder they're sick, no wonder they have this, no wonder they have that, are all poisoned. And doctors now coming out and saying this shit. So, that whole thing of getting people to understand, like, the artificial aspect with the food. It was not making us better. It was making us sicker, and we were reliant, dependent on them. And so, that's like a knockback to us. And so it's going to be like that kind of same thing with this superficial, oh God. Oh God. Yeah, those Vanderpump Rule girls and their big, giant, shiny rocks. They all wanted bigger and bigger, bigger. Fuck, they'd go around with goddamn 20 carats on their finger. So flashy. That to me is such a sign of insecurity. If you're secure, you don't need to go around trying to flash and get attention. You don't need to. That is a sign of insecurity. And so these girls, they need these giant ass rings to go around. Then that superficial, shallow kind of, they're going around wearing, people on. It's just, we'll see how it goes, but that's what I see coming. It's just like, I just see it coming. And then, and all of that part, like, there's going to be like a revealing, kind of like what I'm saying with the revealing about the food. All of these things are going to keep being revealed. And there's just so many people who play such a, it's shocking to see how many people are so comfortable with being shallow and superficial. Like, that they think that is a better, more healthier way to exist or something. And so this is where people think of like the hand of God, but it is like the universe is what I've always thought of it as being. But it's the energy It's the energy turning. The soul has the connection. It's not like you have to spell it out for me. There's soul. That's why you can't get away from the truth, because it's inside of you. And it is, so the soul doesn't need that stuff. It will understand. It will, it's going to just do what it's supposed to do. And so it's going to start doing, if it's going to be ascending, it's going to be relentlessly making you have to look at something, making you have to see. I mean, it will be like you wouldn't even be able to sleep. Yeah, you would be, it's going to be, the energy is going to be so intense. That's why if you're not doing your healing, but it's not just healing. It's like this healing the old. It's like the old you has to die, and then you have to become the new you. The same thing that's going on in micro macro. The old earth, the whole thing has to go. Like, you still see people who were like, well, maybe if we do this, we could save this, we could save that. It's like, this whole thing is going. It's all ending. There is no saving it. And we don't want to save it. Once it's gone, it's going to be so much better. It's going to be like, I always see like this patch of dirt that looks desolate, and then all of a sudden a flower pops up and blooms. That is the energy of what is to come. Is like everything has to be destroyed. People's psyche, because they need to rebuild it in a healthier way. Everything that they had, that they valued, has to be taken so that they can recognize that that's not where value is. So all of these things, people have to lose loved ones and lose things that they value and stuff. It is all to reevaluate and to reprioritize what is important. It is just so the soul can get a new view of life. It isn't as a punishment, or it's not crises. People think that these things that they hold on to and value, that they mean something. But as a creator, you can have all of those things. This is learning how to let go of these things. It's weird too, because we're learning how to let go, but it's like letting go of things that weren't good. It's like the snake shedding its skin. It's like letting go of its old skin, because that skin would not be able to cover them, to sheath them. They have to let go of the old skin so that they could develop the new skin. It's like the same thing. Everything is micro macro. So it's the same thing that we are doing. Is the state of development is. So it's like, I always say healing, because it has been like healing to me. And so, it is healing. It's letting go of things. It's facing yourself. It's seeing things on a deeper level. Because some of the things, it's not about healing. It's about recognition, recognizing a past life and understanding, oh, so I have this problem with this person all the time. And, it gives you more insight of how to, approach your problems, to see the depth to your problems. Oh, yeah, because the people who think like that they're the people, like the same thing, like your soul comes out of the body, and it's like, it's just this energy that goes out and doesn't know what it is or where it's going. It doesn't know anybody anymore. And that's not it at all. Like, anybody who has come out of their body, and there's tons of books, and I can say it from my own experience because I've come out of mine. But anybody, any of the books, so you read any of the NDEs, anyone, I mean, there's people who probably do the ayahuasca and all those different kinds of things that have come out of their bodies. Anybody who has come out of their body will always tell you that you are exactly the same. There's nothing different. You do not, it's not like you come out and you don't know who you are. The thing that is the problem is that when people are coming out, the confusion lies because they think that they died, and you don't die. So they become confused because you don't feel any different. You feel exactly the same. And so they can come out of their bodies, and in their minds, they're like, oh, I died. Now I can't go back in, which they could go back in, but because they believe that they died, so they just will stay there and be dead. And then they don't know like what to do. They don't like, it's so foreign to them. So that is where the confusion comes, is because they're still alive, but they're not in their body. So what are they supposed to do? Where are they supposed to go? And what are, so there is a confusion, but that's all it is. And so that's why I think it's like an advancement right now with the consciousness to become more aware. So even if you come out of your body, you go, oh, I can go back in. You just got to know, like, if you come out of it in an accident or something, and then you get back in, you have a lot of pain. But the pain, remember, is to help you heal. So there's some reason why that would have happened, that you would go through that pain. And and you can also go through it real quick. Like what was this one? This was an interesting one, because this guy was I think he was in an accident, and he was told he was going to be, he would never walk again. And he went into the hospital. And what was this one? This one was B frequency. So if you get the frequency of B, so if you go by the hives and they do the sounds, the bees make a sound that is so high vibration that anything that it touches heals. And even like right now, I have this part of the honeycomb inside that one honey I got. So it is sending out vibration. And so the guy who was in the accident, he went into the hospital, and they brought in the frequency of the bee wings, and he listened to that. They had a couple of things. Like he had to listen to that, and then it was stuff like that, very different ideas of healing, and was out walking within 6 weeks. And so and the other one was that woman with her voice frequency. Like there's frequencies that will heal. See, that's what just makes me so sick about that woman, who's just waiting for her days to be up. It's like, go get the B frequency thing. And then, I mean, that guy was supposed to be paralyzed. He was supposed to be quadriplegic. And here he is out walking around from B frequencies. And this lady's just getting mated. She's just like, man. Ugh. But, I don't know. I can't get all caught up and sad and stuff because I don't know what all soul lessons are going on there. They have their own stuff to work out. And, oh, that's what it was earlier where they showed me. It was something about how a soul lesson and how it plays out. Like, it was something else with that they showed me. But I'm telling you, they'll show you shit all the time. All the time. You just got to ask questions. And, but it is, it definitely is about the 3D, and people need it to identify themselves. It's like a dependency. But that is why I said is it's going to be like, for some people, it's going to rip right out of their hands. They're going to be gripping on. And the more they're gripping on, the more it's going to hurt, because out of the dependency of not seeing themselves, because it's scary. It's like open water for the soul. And that to me is like also, when I had said about going into the all state of consciousness, where everybody's just kind of like I don't know, like a energy orgy or something, where it was just energy and molded into one another or something. See, I don't like that either. Yeah, that to me kind of, I like the idea, the distinct idea of me, of a me, and so I don't know. I think that helps me with that whole thing of not being so attached to that, because so much of this world was pushing me out because it didn't accept me. And so I had to remain true to me. I couldn't adapt myself to become a part of that world. So, like I've said, I've never been a part of that world to the depth of what I see with people. I've always been, I don't know, definitely half in and half out. I definitely have always been in my own world too. Like, although I thought everybody was doing it, I thought everybody was sitting around having conversations in their head. I didn't know, it wasn't everybody. And so, and whatever that part, not having, to me, having the conversation inside gives you the self-identity. Is the going outside of yourself is what makes it, that dependency on that view of themselves. But yeah, that rips out of their hands. That is going to be, that's um, that existential crisis. That's the dark night, is when what they saw themselves to be in the only way that they were able to understand themselves, when that gets pulled away from them. And that is, and that is going to be so much about the feeling exposed, because so many people were playing a role, just like how, like, there's all these girls, reality TV, who think that they are just like, the trendsetters, they are the influencers. They're the ones that all the other girls look up to. And all the girls that wear a lot of makeup and stuff like that, all the girls are looking outside of themselves for this superficial kind of identity. It's only a certain group of girls, but it's a huge, huge amount. Like, they've got, I mean, I say the biggest percentage of the feminine is, it leans in that direction. But the ones, the influencers of it, they're the ones. Like, when I was watching that Vanderpump Rules, it's just what I could see so big. It's like, oh my God, when this goes down, these people are going to be so exposed for being so shallow and so superficial and toxic. Like, people are going to have such a different attitude towards things. Like, the people don't even realize how much their attitude's going to shift about things that they thought were one way, and they're going to look at them completely the other way. But that whole stage of development, to see it, to transpire, to transition from seeing it something one way into seeing it another way. It's the steps. And that's why each person has to go through their steps. And that's why it's counterproductive if you are too focused on seeing through somebody else's, because you'll miss what you need to see. You'll see what they need to see, but you may miss what you need to see. So it's important for you to continue to see through your own, even if you need to have hands to hold as a support system to grip onto reality, to continue no matter what, to find your own space of your own identity of knowing. Like I was kind of hearing somebody saying something, and don't just go, oh, well, because they said, or, well, I think that too, or whatever. To think about, well, what do I really think about that? What do I really feel about that? Do I agree with that? Or do I just go along with the rest of the group or whatever? So keep pulling yourself into really defining yourself, even if you need other people to, to hold on to, you know. So, like, if you have certain, spiritual people or tarot people or whoever, where you feel you are getting your guidance through, just make sure that you don't just fully trust, like, what this person's view in life. Because one thing I have seen throughout this whole thing is that everybody's variables of vision of how their perception is acquiring. And so you can be in alignment with somebody on this and not on this. And so, you are going at your own pace. And so you may pass them up, and, you may come back, just like what I was talking about with that girlfriend of mine, how we've gone and then we've come back together, but there was something else I wanted to talk about with that, a spiritual thing. But I can't remember what it was still, but, no matter what, to me, a lot of things are happening. I don't know if I'll have time to talk this weekend. If this weekend shit starts going down, I will. But that would be that we won't have power anyways. So, because if the grid goes down or whatever, if the whole thing is to kind of try and take the system down, so when it comes back up, we're on the quantum computer internet, we're on the quantum financial, like everything is switching over. And so there has to be the part where they take all the other down. And so if that is this weekend, yeah, I wouldn't probably stress. I mean, I think everybody would kind of know what's going on. Just remember, no matter what. Oh, yeah, and that one guy, that military guy, too, he was saying, get out of the cities, get out of the cities. He says, soon as anything goes down. And he was saying, from a military point of view, if it is going to go down. And he's one of the people who thinks that there's about to be a war. And I don't know how far it will go, and it will be the worst in the cities. 100%. It's going to be the worst in the cities. Like, I've seen that for sure. Cities are going to be dangerous places. And, but it's going to be all different. But I think that they've slowly been coming. I think they've slowly been showing people, and people just want to ignore it. And so it's going to be like, man, we showed you. We were showing you. You didn't want to see it. So now you're going to have to really experience how bad it's about to get. And so, but that is like their wake up call. It's like their soul's not paying attention, so they need a wake up call. So what seems to be tragic and horrible and scary is going to, it's what how they came to play it out. It's what they came to experience. And so, and we're going to see a lot of it. I mean, you can see it coming. You can see it building up to where it's going to be. All these people who had no clue what the hell is going on, and then all of a sudden are going to be forced into a completely different reality, and where we were all kind of shifting. And and it becomes real obvious to you when you are talking to people in the other reality that it's a definite divide. It's a definite split in the reality. It's a definite higher dimension. You are seeing things from a higher perspective. They are seeing things from a lower perspective. They're seeing things from inside the dollhouse, where you're seeing things from, you're standing across the street looking out. Maybe you're standing up on the hill looking out, So your perspective has grown. So you are in the higher mind, and theirs is still limited. And so it's very distinct when you have these conversations. You can really see, but but it's going to change. I mean, they're not stuck there. This is just going to be a dramatic thing when it happens. But it's kind of like, to me, it's like they all want to ride this wave. It's like this, and I've used that analogy before too, but they have shown me that one a lot of times, like all these surfers rushing to these certain places at certain times of the year because they get this primo wave, and it's kind of like all these souls rushing in for these experiences because they get this primo wave. And, it's the avatars who get all bent out of shape and butt hurt and think life's so hard. But the soul isn't like that. The soul is like a surfer running towards the experience, running towards the energy. And so it is, the soul has a very different attitude than the person, the person who's trying to be in control. If they start letting their soul be in the driver's seat more, it's going to very much change. And it is the shedding. It's that dramatic. It is like your old skin. When you're in the 3D and you're trying to be that persona, that's your old skin. And leaving that, you have to shed that skin. and you have to be bare in order to, you have to be that raw in order to start developing in your, like I can see the snakes colors and stuff, but when their skin comes off, it's all fresh new skin underneath. It's not like that. When your skin comes off, it is very raw and exposed, and then you got to start building yourself. You develop yourself. You start building yourself, your true self, who you really are. And so that is the beauty of the snake's skin. That is the butterfly when it comes out of the cocoon and stuff. So it is that is the part that you are in the process of doing through this elimination of who you were as you were attached to these other kind of lives, because it's like people just think like it's just this one life. But you have so many lives in the three-dimensional, and it is like a letting go of that. And that's why so many things are going full circle, so you can let go of it. But it is letting go of that so that you can move out and let go and be like, whatever problems I had them. I made bad choices. They made bad choices. I did some stupid stuff. I learned from it. It's changing your attitude and not carrying it forward and carrying forgiveness and acceptance. And, that is the development. That is the letting go of it. And then moving into that state of mind where you see that the stuff doesn't matter. As long as it matters, that holds you. That as long as it matters, it binds you. That's why I keep saying, the stuff about forgiveness is super important. And, not cutting people out of your life and pretending like they don't exist. That's going to bind people down. Like they think that they are doing something good for themselves, and I think they're just binding themselves. But they're going to have an opportunity to see. Like, I think that there's this opportunity is going to show you what you need to see. It's going to show you what you need to see for your soul's development. And so each person will have their own things, and each person will have their own things that are shown to them. And so it isn't like, it isn't going to be just like one thing. It is going to be a lot of different things. This is going to be very personally defined towards your own learning. And so but that is the important part of being aware of your own signs and your own communication and stuff like that, so you get the most out of it. And that is like, I don't know, I just feel like so many people are just so distracted. Even people who think they're awake, they're all just so distracted. Their focus, their time and energy on a distraction rather than, working on themselves. They'd rather not see that part or not face that part of themselves. They'd rather just ignore that. And, but, they just don't understand how important it is right now to be changing your philosophy, changing your attitude, and what you do or how you look at things. Everything is this transformation, and everything is going to be the opposite. So it's going to be opposite day. So everything that you thought was one thing is going to be the opposite of what you thought it was. And so, that's just the way it's going to go. And so if it is going to be, hopefully, I hope it's this weekend, and the money crashes, turn the internet off, and come back on. And however, they're going to do, everything is going to be going for the most impact, to get the most people awake. And so if it is that some people have to get up to 0 accounts so that they can understand about the crash of the system, You know, I don't know. Or they're going to just get up and it's going to be all great and blessings and everybody's going to have money in their account. Because to me, it seems like people are still super shallow. Like, there has to be some more stuff. Like, I don't think, I can't, I think that whatever is going to go down, like something big is going to go down where a lot of people are going to die. And then it's going to be super devastating. That's going to be what's going to change people's attitude. So people just stop being so fucking shallow and stop being so, you know, it's just, they're going to change and they're going to become more deeper and care more. Like all these people who are losing loved ones and stuff, like they're going and saying, oh, you know, how important it is to spend time with your people. You know, they're saying all these things. You know, it's about learning those lessons. It's all the things are about learning those lessons, learning about what's important, learning about to value life, learning about being productive in your life, you know. What are you here for? What are you doing? You know, all this whole time through life, they've just told people, you know, there's no point. You have no point of being alive, you know. So make the best of it and go and work and make money and, you know, buy things. And people were like, well, okay, I guess that's what I'll just go do. And then people just go do it. And it's like, well, what is your soul saying? Doesn't your soul say anything to you? Isn't it telling you, like, what to do or anything? So, I don't know. This is going to be so interesting to see when people, I mean, well, I've already been seeing people who are, and a lot of people start feeling like they're going crazy. I can't believe people are going into mental places and saying they're crazy because they're hearing voices. Asking for drugs. Drug me. I'm hearing voices. It's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse. The more, like if you have to keep up. Like the veil is going to become thinner and thinner. You have to keep up. And if you can't wrap your head around it, it's going to get scary. You know, it's going to all of a sudden seem like there's ghosts and aliens and monsters and stuff. So, you know, you just got to, you know, realize and, you know, respect, you know, it's like the forest creatures that are out there eating people. Like, yeah, they're out there, you know, it's like the same thing as like in the ocean. Like, so you need to have respect for what's out there, like, and awareness. So it's not like the only thing that's scary is because they lied to people and told people that they weren't out there, so people are going out there and getting eaten. But that was part of the whole thing. It's been part of their treaties or something. Like, let them eat us, and they'll give them secrets or something. You know, they'll give them technology if they can chow down on us. So, anyways, but that is, to me, you just have to have a respect for all of life to just see. And if you know, like to me, I don't want to go out in the dark in the forest. That is a fucking hell no. I mean, even going in the forest in the daytime, even in the forest that's just right over my neighborhood, when me and Stella go walking up in that forest. And there's parts where you can't, there's no house that you can't hear anything or anything. But it's creepy. Like when you go up there, like there's the forest. I don't ever know how anybody couldn't think like, I don't know how you could go in the forest and not know that there's magic all around you. That there's things alive in the forest. I don't know how people can't see it. Like it's, I feel it. I can see it. Like, so anyways, now, we'll just have to see, you know, how this day is going to go. We'll just, you know, fingers crossed that it's finally going to be where they're going to take some stuff down. And if they do, and then it comes back on, then it has to go through, you know, there's going to have to be some trauma to get people to stop being superficial. Or there just is going to. It's not going to be just like, you know, oh, well, the lights go off for a few minutes and then everybody gets $100,000 in your account. Go have a good life. I don't think it's going to be like that, because this is about the awakening. And people are so shallow and superficial. And it's just like feeding the disease if they do that. So it's got to go down different than that. I think it's going to be the traumatic part. There's going to be like, I mean, there's a lot of things that don't matter when you just suffered a huge trauma. You don't give a fuck. So it's going to be like that. Like, oh, well, you got money. Well, fuck that. Don't give a fuck about money. It's going to be that kind of more attitude. And so yeah, there's going to be just a lot that's going to go down. There's going to be a lot that's going to go in the cities, probably go first. And then, but it's going to be going all over the place, because there's people everywhere that are just going to be waking up. And there's a lot to wake up to. And there's a lot of trauma. And there's a lot of people who are going to be really mad to find out they didn't have to die. And they didn't have to lose family members. That's going to be really hard on them. But there's going to be that beautiful part, because I know the family members are all going to be just right there. I just feel so sure about that. That whatever we start seeing as the dimensions, as everything starts opening, that your family members and stuff, they're going to be right there. That they're not really gone. And they 100% know who they are. They 100% know who you are. They come and hang out with you all the time. There's nobody is really gone. And so it is leaving the game. It's getting rid of the veil. It's being able to be a grown-up and not need a veil, not need a leash, to be able to be out and walk off the leash. It is another one came into my mind too, off of because it's to not be on the leash, it's to be free, to not be restrained, because everything about that reality is all about restraining you to be less than what you are, to limit you away from your superpowers. And so to me, I'm telling you, just if you're working on this kind of stuff, what I'm talking about, just keep working on the development of your consciousness, and not the controlling energy, but the controlling of yourself, like, like healing yourself. I think you could change your hair color. Like, I think you can change all of your stuff. It's something like I'm seriously working on trying to make my implants go, like picturing them getting smaller and smaller and just going away, because we're a fucking hologram. We can change ourselves. We don't need them. So we have to know that in order to put ourselves together. So that's the kind of stuff that I'm working more on, is like my conscious abilities, my control, my mind control, my conscious abilities, my abilities for telepathy, my abilities to know before something happens, to know what's going to happen, to a big part of mine is the communication with them, to get more sharp with it, to get more like more kind of in sync with it or something. But everybody's got their own stuff that they're working on, their own soul stuff. And so just recognize what you are trying to develop in yourself. And but that to me is like a big thing to work on, is that is going to be like a quantum leap. The people who have been doing their healing and working on themselves and really developing themselves as a conscious being, they're going to, is going to be like a quantum leap in their lives. It's going to be a huge jump. It is going to be like the Three Little Pigs, and the storm came in and everybody lost their houses except for the ones who built them with sticks. So the ones who have been doing the work, it's going to be like everything is going to start going better. And it's going to be a big jump, though. It's going to be like they're going to go from, living like this, and then a big jump. And that is going to get where people are going to really take notice, where people are going to start seeing the point. of working on themselves and developing themselves and stuff. Like, I feel so sure, but it's got to be close. Like, this stuff can't keep dragging. Like, no matter how many weekends we pass, one of the weekends is going to be the weekend where it's going to go down. And I'm sure the hell hope is this weekend. But they box themselves in so many times by saying, I mean, I've heard 3 times over 3 different years, as it started in 2020 where we weren't going to have money. And in 2021, we're going to run out. We're not going to be able to pay we're going to be in a deficit. Like, all this shit. It's like, there's not even any fucking money. This is ridiculous. I think they've already put the quantum system in just to get America to be able to still function. They had to put the quantum one in because these people are just driving this thing out so far. I mean, they would leave us all, and then plus they're trying to just destroy everything to leave us here with no food and stuff. Man, and they just do the same old tricks. Like, I swear to God, this is the same shit that they've just done in every country every single time. They just want to destroy and make the people dependent, starve them, and all this stuff. So, anyways, but there's going to be this big jump. So I just would tell you guys again, just keep working on you. And if, you're just getting started and then you're disappointed, I may not be videoing for a few days or whatever, but there may not even be any powers. You may not be able to see any videos. But anyways, they're all the ones have all got different parts about healing. And I see people talking about, on TikTok, the people talking about different parts of healing. I'm always telling people on there, like, because they'll ask me something. It's like, man, I talk about that all the time on my channel. Go and watch those videos. I think that you could get something out of it. But I just think there's so many people who are just, confused, but like their soul is speaking out to them. That could even be more confusing. So, anyways, I'm just I'll post this tomorrow, and then we'll just see how it goes. Just I may post it maybe tonight. I don't know. I'll post it in a couple hours or something. That one today took all day. I could not believe that. Yesterday, something is dicking around with the downloading again. Because yesterday it was doing that same trick. It goes through the first stage, goes through the second stage, gets to the end of the second stage, and then flips back over and starts over. It was doing that yesterday. And then today, that one took all fucking day to download. I could not believe it. And so, who knows? I mean, I could start this one tonight and may not even go on till tomorrow. So, yeah, I could take 6 hours and I'll get there just in time in the morning or something. That's what I'm figuring. I'll probably, what is it? Oh, it's already 7. So, yeah, I probably will download it here in a couple hours, so it'll be there more in the morning. But however it goes down, if it isn't this weekend, it's going to be disappointing, that's for sure. But there's going to be stuff going down. I mean, it's nonstop stuff going down. So, however it's going to go down, it's going to go down, but we're going to get there. So however, we get there, we're going to get there. So don't get defeated and down feeling and like, guys, just keep building yourself back up and just keep, telling yourself, just get up and go another day, another day, another day. We'll get there. Just, I don't know how many another days we got to go through, but hopefully this is the weekend. This is the, where they finally have to put in, reveal their hand, finally show their hand. That would be great. So, anyways, we'll see. And, because I would, because the 7/7, so I don't know, I'll see. I feel like it's going to be really hectic. I feel like it's going to be really busy over the next week. But so the 7/7 thing, don't forget about the meditation. And then the 7/8 thing is supposed to be all of that light. So just be expecting. And then there's something with the Gemini moon thing. So there's something about that. and what it exposes or something. So, just be prepared to look deep at yourself. Don't be put off by it. And don't feel, I think the biggest thing that puts people off is feeling bad about themselves. Don't feel bad about themselves. That's your challenge. That's your something you're trying to get over. Accept yourself. Appreciate yourself. Love yourself. All of those things. And then I'll talk to you later. Bye.